Good morning, and welcome to today's installment of Contractors Chatter. You know how we do. As you enter the room, say hello. Post your greeting in the chat. You find value in this content. You have a friend in business interested in government contracting. Share this broadcast with them. They came upon, you don't want to be the only person in your network to grow. You don't want to be the only person in your network with access to information that will positively impact business. I am your host, Luciana Turner of the LT&A Consulting Group. Good morning and welcome to today's installment of Contractors Chatter. Oh, wow. So, just to get a few things, administrative items off the list, um, we want to keep in mind Chatter goes live Monday through Friday at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Time. So, if you want to catch me live, that's when I go live. Replays are posted on our YouTube channel, which can be found by LT&A Consulting Group. All the replays are there. And beginning in June, Chatter will exclusively stream from our YouTube channel and LinkedIn. We're going to stop streaming from Facebook. And that is just in preparation for some future changes to Chatter. So there we go. So this morning, I want to talk about some things that posted to the Federal Registry yesterday. Now, for those who do not know, the Federal Registry is where all proposed rules, laws, regulations, even some executive orders are posted for public comment. So anything that's out, anything that's proposed, hits the Federal Registry. You know, everybody is up in arms over well, not everybody. People are up in arms about the Fed now, the Treasury announcement of Fed now. That was proposed back pre-pandemic. I believe the year was 2019. Well, it was up on the Federal Registry for quite some time, open for public comment. People could have read through the proposal, expressed their concerns, asked questions so that any changes could have been adopted before the final rollout occurs in July. A lot of people aren't aware of the Federal Registry for a variety of reasons. But the Federal Registry is a good source of staying up to date information that is impactful to you. Um, I personally do not have time to report on everything on the Federal Registry. That would be a whole segment in and of itself. And it's actually something I would be interested in doing. But that would just take so much time and it would be its own segment separate from Chatter. However, I do report on highlights or items I think are of importance to this audience that hit the Federal Registry, such as the proposed changes to the 8A program that the SBA has submitted. SBA's proposed changes to the one of their loan, packages, the 7B. Sorry, it fell right out my head as I was getting ready to say it. A loan package It's on the Federal Registry for review and comment. Now, currently, both of those changes that the SBA is proposing is going through Congress. So if you want to listen in on the congressional hearings regarding that, you can go to the congress.gov, see when they're having the hearings, see if they're televised, so that you can listen in on testimonies regarding those changes. One change that I am concerned about with regarding the 8A program is that the change in ownership. Currently, if a 8A company is bought by a non-8A company, those contracts or that company has to stay as a standalone, or that contract gets reawarded to an 8A firm. The way I am interpreting one of the changes is if that 8A company is bought by a non-8A company, that contract can be performed by that non-8A company. That's the way I'm interpreting that. I could be wrong, which is why I'm doing some additional research and I'm asking some questions. However, the rule isn't final yet. So it's out there for everybody who is interested in the 8A program to get that information. Additionally, another change to the 8A program would be before, if you owed a debt to the government, you could not, as an individual who owned a company, if you owed a debt to the government, you couldn't go through the 8A program. The change that they're proposing now would be if you can show proof that that debt is satisfied or that you have a satisfactory agreement in place, you can enter into the 8A program. I think that's fair. So everybody, some people have debt to the government that's not their fault. Divorces happen, life happens. And you can have a debt to the government that is not maliciously of your doing. And I do believe intent should be factored into whether you're precluded from some of these things. And anybody who knows my stance on certifications know that I feel that the 8A certification is a certification that every government contractor with a plan, with a strategy, should go after. The other ones, you can parlay them, but the 8A certification is definitely a certification you should go after. So that is a part of your overarching strategy, but you need to have a plan. You need to have a strategy. Too many people go after 8A contracts and an 8A certification, and I'm to do a training class on this. It's only for a certain amount of time. A lot of people fumble and stumble through their 8A because they don't have a plan. And by the time they get their acts together, they're getting ready to graduate, and they were never able to take full advantage of the 8A program. So these changes would be great to get in place prior to pursuing 8A. Becoming 8A ready is key. Making sure your compliance is important. Too many people are not ensuring that their books and records are in place. That's a whole nother talk that I'll probably do on tomorrow. The key compliance factors that every business owner, especially government contractors, need to have in place. But back to the Federal Registry. Yesterday saw 6 documents from 6 agencies, special filings, one presidential document and proposed, three proposed rule changes that were filed yesterday to the Federal Registry. Now, the executive order is dealing with the continuation of national emergency with regards to the stabilization of Iraq. Those who are seeking contracts with the Department of Defense, those who have contracts looking for contracts that deal with any type of service or goods that could be used in that region, the continuation of the emergency declaration means those contracts will get funded as a priority. So keep your eye out for any continuation, rebids, or new efforts along those lines. The way appropriations work, and I'm giving a very high level, cursory overview here. This is not detailed. This is just very high level. Anything that's bound by an emergency order gets priority. So the fact that there's still an emergency order around these things means that they will get funded. So if you have a service that could be used in that region, expect to see continuation of those contracts, expect to see new contracting orders around those deliverables. If you're a small business and you're saying to yourself, I could not bid on $1 million contracting effort of that size, don't worry. There are subcontracts available. Do the research, find out who the primes are, build those networks. We're talking about that at the Contractors Intensive. Identifying those things, how to build those networks, how to build that into your strategic plan. So sign up for the Contractors Intensive, October, here in Charlotte, North Carolina. You can build out your contracting plan in that way. The Federal Aviation Administration, they're really just coming down with rules around airworthiness. If you are a company that provides services around airplanes, I actually would read that. People sleep on the number of opportunities that come from seemingly innocuous orders. These rules, proposed rules, addendums, so much work come from these. So much work. Far too often, those people are stepping over that possibility because they can't see the big picture. We have to start playing the long game with a lot of things. I know everybody wants to run the 50-yard dash in 10 seconds. I'm not a runner, but I've been told that when you're doing distance running, you have to pace yourself. And what I'm telling you is in government contracting, you have to pace yourself. You're not always going to come out the gate with these multi-million-dollar contracts. You're not always going to come out the gate with these large contracting efforts. That is something we're also going to talk about at the Contractors Intensive. How to pace yourself for a large contracting win. Now, the Department of Education is issuing some changes regarding servicing of children with disabilities. With what's going on with education around the country, there's so many opportunities, or so much opportunities, for educators who are, quite frankly, tired and disappointed with the way the school system is going, to fill the void that is out there. And there is a void, especially for students with disabilities that are falling through the cracks because our current school system just isn't up there, just isn't up to snuff. This is my opinion. I am a parent of children with learning disabilities. It's easy to blame the parents for what's going on in the school system. And in some respect, it is the parents' fault. I am an active parent. I'm involved with the PTA. So I'm in the office when teachers are calling parents and parents don't answer the phone. I was in the office when they were calling for a student, and they actually had to call the parent from another phone because the parent had blocked the school. And when the parent realized it was the school, the parent hung up. So I know these things are true. It is also true that the schools are failing our children. Because as a parent, when I recognized that my concerns were being ignored, I got with my doctor, my children's doctor, and I got the help for my children that they needed because the school was ignoring my concern. It was just as simple. I'm an active parent. I'm there doing work. And I kept being told, well, if it's not a concern. And it was. I should have been. So these efforts coming out of the Department of Education that's supposed to support the states, those who are providing those educational services can take advantage of those efforts if you do the positioning now to get those access to those funds and those fundings to fill the void. We're having too many silly conversations and our children are suffering for it. Our children, and this is continuation of my personal opinion, our children are suffering because we're having ridiculous conversations that at the end of the day, it isn't going to move the needle for them. Let's restore hope. Let's restore sanity and give our children what they need to be successful in the future. Because a lot of our children just feel hopeless. Back to the regular scheduled program. So keep an eye out on these efforts coming out from the Department of Education with regards to students servicing students with disabilities. Department of Commerce has also issued some industry specific special notices. So I would deep dive the Federal Registry, And the National Defense Transportation Day and National Transportation Week is coming up. So if you have an interest in working in transportation or for the Department of Defense, I would take an interest in those in the events surrounding excuse me, surrounding that. Excuse me, I'm trying to bring it up, which is why I'm looking to decide to give you the exact days. Because as soon as I hit the dot, my electronic device, it went off the screen. Excuse me. So anyway, okay, I'm gonna have to bring you the dates tomorrow. Sorry. So anyway, the National Defense Week is coming up. That is a time for those who are working for the Department of Defense to get to know the various agencies and sub-agencies. I don't know why everybody thinks of DOD as one agency. Actually, DOD is comprised of multiple agencies and sub-agencies, each of which has their own budget, each of which has their own purchasing authority. So you really need to do your research if you're going to do work with them, which is why having that strategic plan and that access to credit and that access to knowledge is important. And with that, I'm going to close out today letting you know that I am publishing a 365 Contractors Journal, which will help anybody new to government contracting, whether you're a business owner, adding government contracting to your suite, your client services, or you're just newbie getting into government contracting, period. I'm releasing the 365 Contractors Journal. I'm also releasing a book on government contracting this year. So yay, keep an eye out on that. It's been a long time coming. And a contractor's notebook. You've heard me reference it, and I've had so many people say, well, what should the notebook entail? Well, you know what? I put one together. So you can purchase these individually. You can purchase these as a bundle. The details will be on my page. You can join the mailing list so you can get access to all those details. If you come to the intensive, I will have them at the intensive for purchase and for pre-purchase. And you can actually do pre-orders now, so you can just pick them up at the intensive. So I'm closing out today with, as I always say, a stressed mind can't create. So ensure to get proper rest. Take care of yourself holistically, because if you don't take care of yourself as the business owner, you can't take care of your business. So I will see you tomorrow morning for another installment of Contractors Chatter. I'm Luciana Turner, your host. Have an amazing, amazing day. And I'll see you on tomorrow.